Hey, I am doing this myself tonight. It is so good to see everybody. Um, I got to tell you, I got things popping up that Doug does. I don't even know. I hope everybody can see me. I don't know if you can put in the comments that you can see me, you can hear me. I think I got to see Tim and Mobius. Dollar Tree Nazi won't be playing tonight, but you guys can play it as we're going and rocking and rolling. So it's good to see you guys. It says, Premium account on X is required to create live broadcasts on their platform. I did. I thought I did that. Okay. Well, ready to go. Oh, okay. So I guess I want to try see what happens when Doug isn't here. So anyway, I was waiting for people to come on. I was thinking about something. I was thinking about this hat. So I wore this hat on purpose. I know you guys have probably seen this hat a few times and you're wondering, my goodness, you would think, Denver sort of embraces this Bigfoot thing because, he did write a book called Bigfoot is Complicated. And that's really what got me into thinking about all these different types of belief systems. And, when you have people screaming at you because you would suggest that Bigfoot should be baited with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at a Bigfoot search, a Bigfoot expedition. I remember the young woman screaming at me because she said she was an amateur primatologist, and for me to suggest that Bigfoot should have bread could kill them because primates have gluten allergies. So that's when I knew that I was onto something. So, but that 2004 first expedition set the stage for me being number one on Twitter worldwide and being on Saturday Night Live and being on Jimmy Fallon. If you guys remember all this, being on Colbert, getting hurt, right? Getting crushed because I had a far left candidate accuse me of Bigfoot erotica. And, I remember what happened. My consultant was like, just ignore it. Well, I couldn't. When you're running against somebody whose daughter is Olivia Wilde, um, it's hard to ignore, right? She was dating Jason Sudeikis at the time. I was running against Leslie Coburn, and I had just done an editorial and op-ed against white supremacy because I don't know if anybody knows this, and Charlottesville is in our district, fifth district, Charlottesville. I'm a UVA person, but I'm only alum, but I'm only 25 minutes from UVA. I live here in Nelson County where our distillery is. So, you know, it's really hard to ignore, right? When you get accused of Bigfoot erotica, when you wrote a book about disinformation. And I was talking to Cletus earlier today, and I haven't really gone all in to scare the hell out of you all yet. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about how people are going to react. I'm worried about if I tell you what really happens behind the scenes with media, with politics, with consultants, with chiefs of staff, with Republican committees, local and state, with national committees, with congressional committees, with the Republican National Committee, with the whip teams, with everything that you have to deal with. I'm almost wondering sometimes with the stuff that I know in the military, what I dealt with, some of the things there, if there's any veterans, I don't know if I should, because facts are truly stranger than fiction. And the stuff that you do and see with incompetence, stupidity, just amoral behavior, not even immoral, amoral, just psychopaths, narcissists, transactional robot idiots, everything that I've seen, I think I'd scare the hell out of everybody. And if I tell you the story tonight of disinformation on a level that's hard to believe, I just want it to sink in because there's a lot I want to talk about. Also, something surprised me that Cletus told me today that he said I should go longer than 30 minutes. I was always worried about losing everybody's attention, right? I mean, how many people care, right, about what's actually happening? How people with sort of my background, which is so unique. I was never in politics, guys. I didn't get into politics. I was 47. It's because I was pissed off. And by the way, I got into politics because of liquor and pipelines. I mean, really. And when I, those stories about Trump saying, people come to him in tears, I actually had people come to me in tears about the regulations that were going on, but also about the Atlantic Coast pipeline that was running through people's backyards and how they can fight this. I've been accused of being, everything from a child murderer to, right, to an evil Trumper, pro-lifer, pro-choicer. I've been accused. I've been called the exact opposite names by each side so often that it's just sort of like water off a duck's back. But then you're like, Denver, the hat. Get to the hat. So now we got people getting on now. It's about 5 minutes in. So here we go. So, but I don't want to scare everybody, but I'm going to scare you guys tonight. And again, truth is so much scarier than fiction. Incompetence and bad actors really are the way. So I released this op-ed. I'm running in 2018. I had won a convention by one vote when the congressman before me, the preceding congressman, got out because of professed alcoholism, which is a little awkward since I'm a distiller also. But at the time, I was a senior consultant for electronic warfare and countermeasures at the Pentagon. It was sort of a mess, too. I've ever told you about what goes on behind closed doors and how much you have to work just to get dolts to understand, technical issues. It's really something there, and I know everybody hates Doge. I do, of course, because it's run by the worst of us. But I saw such waste and such huge awfulness at the Pentagon that's a whole nother story. But I was a senior consultant there for electronic warfare. And I remember I won the convention by one vote. The senior executive there goes, Denver, you better not win. We need you. I was running a $200 million plus program looking at threat communications in countries that are our enemy. And I think you guys can probably guess who they are. So I win a convention by one vote. I had 5 days to prepare. I spent $0, made 37 phone calls. Do you guys know I won a convention with only 37 people in 2018? That's right, 19 to 18 on the fourth ballot. At that point, I was accused of being a George Soros plant even then. Somebody who was asked to run, and I beat back 4 other very insane people. And I can't believe it to this day. I won by one vote. And at the time, I was supposed to lose. So when I won, I got thrust into this new world. Somebody who was a military officer. I was a successful CEO, owned distilleries, ran massive tech programs for the United States military. So I really quickly said I could be a new kind of Republican. So I wrote an op-ed against white supremacy. Now, at the time, that was forbidden because if any Republican wrote an op-ed against what happened in Charlottesville, which I did, it would call into attention Donald Trump's both sides arguments. I did it anyway. I think I'm a hero, but I'm already getting blasted, right? Republican committees like this guy's a poser. He's going against President Trump. So already the Republicans sort of hated me. The Democrats hated me. It was a great start. It was a great start. The day after that op-ed publishes, more or less, might have been 2 days, I get a phone call at 11 p.m. at night from my consultant saying, don't turn on the TV. Don't go onto Twitter. You're number one worldwide. I said, well, how is that? He said, Leslie Coburn just put out a tweet calling you a Bigfoot erotica loving Nazi. Now, remember, I just written the white supremacist op-ed, and they knew they had lost that talking point on their crosstabs. That's why they did it, and they got desperate. And this was August, right? And most people are like, gosh, Denver, but campaigns don't start out till after Labor Day. Yeah, but they were desperate. We knew I was coming on in my polling, right? And we saw all this stuff going on. So I'm like, there's no way this sticks. As you guys know, it certainly did. I was dragged across America. But not only that, here's the real issue. The person running against me was a bad person. Her daughter, Olivia Wilde, just as bad. The stuff that they spread about me during the campaign was literally verged on evil. It's very difficult, though, when you're a disinformation expert to get all sad about it, to get into a fetal position and hide. So I didn't. I went after. I did about 40 interviews over the next 2 to 3 days. But even then, articles, you guys saw the headers. Go on Vox, go on all of them. Look at the headers, and they bury the lead at the end. There's no proof. He denies it. Of course it wasn't. It sounds a little stupid. It was actually the New York Times and Rolling Stone in their interviews with me, where they tried to print almost word for word, where they're like, yeah, this is stupid. So let's talk about this hat. So once that started happening, not only was I accused by the left, Democrats, of pedophilia, and you guys know I was accused of that once I officiated the gay wedding as a Republican only 10 months later. I think I broke a record, right, for that with disinformation and loons, right, from the fringes of each party, which, well, let's be honest, the far right is definitely in a hold my beer moment. There's more than on the left. And we can have that discussion another day, but you guys know where I'm at. But I started getting gifts. So the hat that you're seeing today was one of the thousands of gifts I got from across the country with people making fun of me, sending me stuff. But this gift I kept. Isn't it cool? Bigfoot hat with Denver. And I know I see Hella Kella say, no, not Bigfoot again. But you know, what really pisses me off is that Pornhub had an 8,000% increase in Bigfoot erotica searches, and I never got paid. And I think when you look at everything that happened to me, don't you guys agree I should at least got a cut of that? They actually called it the Riggleman bump. I swear to God. So now I'm like sort of famous for being the Bigfoot congressman when I'm the guy who wrote the book against disinformation using Bigfoot believers. And when you see what the left did at that point, what you're seeing the right with the cult behavior, but now we're like going into fascism. I have to say that this isn't about Bigfoot. And even though Kellahella's like Bigfoot again, it's actually about cult leaders. It's actually about people who follow the party line regardless of whether it's right or wrong, whether they're hurting people, whether there are moral things that they're saying, or they're unethical things, or they're evil things, or they're made up things, or opposition dumps to newspapers that are made up, and the media that writes leads that make it seem like the person's guilty until you read the last sentence. And I think that's where I wanted to scare you all, is that it's everywhere. It's invasive. It is all about financial means and clicks. There is no way the media is ever going to tell the exact truth about Donald Trump, because they'll lose access, they'll lose clicks, they'll lose money, they'll lose advertising funds. There's no way the left can ever embrace completely, even the center left, somebody like me. I think it might be the only place that I would fit in, but I don't know if they can handle it. You guys know I have no place in the Republican Party. There's no way I would ever be in a party that supports who I think, right, is a rapist. They're in a party that won't release the Epstein files. I mean, it's just ludicrous. And just all the gaslighting and lies. And, you know, even here in Virginia, the Republican candidate is talking about cabals again, and you know, skirting on the edge of conspiracy theories and deep state and globalists and QAnon language. It's resurfacing. It's like we're, 4 or 5 years ago again. But what you're talking about when you have this intersection of media, parties, money, clicks, you have a democracy that was barely held on anyway. We were sort of on by our fingertips. And I knew that being behind the door. Remember, I served with people in the Freedom Caucus. I also served people on the left. And there's people on here right now. If I told you the people I didn't like on the left, you might turn this off. I can tell you who I don't like on the right, and you'd be like, yeah, right? But I felt told, there's people on the left that I served with, I was on committee with. I literally thought that they had lost brain cells in some bizarre glue sniffing accident in the Alps or something. And I have to tell you guys, I'm worried on a level that I've never been worried before. Because whenever Trump changes what he's doing, everybody follows the lead. And the media will not report on it. For instance, I want to ask everybody here, I want you to think for 5 seconds. When do you think the Trump-Putin meeting is going to be? Crickets? How about this? Why did Trump talk tough and then not allow Ukraine to use long-range missiles to hit into Russia? You guys seen this reporting? It's true. Facts-based. Absolutely. I'm going back to Ukraine here next month, guys. So when you're looking at these type of things that are happening in real time, what I want to ask all of you is, I know we have to pick a team. I know when you have the sportification of our politics and only two parties, We're to this point that you got to pick less bad. When I look at what Gavin Newsom's doing, it's brilliant. People are going to come out and say it's stupid or it's dumb, things like that. But highlighting the stupidity of the far right and Trump and his mental instability, I think is absolutely brilliant. So I'm wearing the hat that was sent to me to make fun of me for a big reason. It's because I am not going to allow disinformation or lies or evil to stop me. And I know that everybody on this channel, the people you talk to, that I will tell you the truth. I'm not going to be a sex symbol. I mean, obviously, I could dance for something like Chubby Dale's for sure, right? But, I'm not slick. I'm not going to color my hair. I'm not going to put in hair plugs. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to Botox because I hate needles. But I'm not going to do this stuff. I'm Denver Riggleman. I'm a guy came from nothing, started some companies and sold them, did really great in the military, was in a lot of stuff in deployments and wars, came back, people wanted to work with me, started a company and sold it, did some other cool stuff. My wife wanted to be a master distiller, so I was her number one investor. Now she's one of the best bourbon distillers in the world, especially, you don't have to say best woman distiller. She is the one. We've done some incredible things. I'm 55, and I know I've told a lot of you guys I'm tired. But I think tonight, without, because Doug is so, Johnny on the spot, popping up all the graphics as I'm talking about this. But tonight with just me, I wonder if you guys even care if, I get a little personal about the things that are happening. I don't want you guys to think that you're wasting your time. When I was trying to keep it to 30 minutes and things like that, I didn't want to, and then I'm like, you know what? God damn. I've done some things. Because I've volunteered for some things. There's nobody on earth, me and you, right now, I could have a discussion about Hunter Biden's forensics. I can crush anybody out there. There's a reason they haven't subpoenaed me. There's a reason I keep getting threatened, but they don't. They don't want to subpoena me on J6 either, because who was the guy whose team found the Meadows texts? That was me. Who was the guy who found the Jenny Thomas text? That was me. Who was the guy where the committee wanted him to leave because I said we should subpoena Jenny Thomas and Clarence Thomas? And that's the real reason I left the committee, because they wouldn't. How about that for breaking news? True. When I wrote The Breach, bestseller, the only book about the data in J6, everybody said they're trying to whitewash J6. They are trying to rewrite history. That's why I had to write the book. And now in hindsight, even though I got hit by the left and the right, I had articles planted by the committee that said I didn't know what I was doing. Well, I do. I'm really damn good at it. That's what's happening. I can see their comments starting to go now. You need to read The Breach. And you need to read between the lines. Because there's some things I actually thought would come out in the FBI, but do you guys know that there's 5 million hard pages of phone records missing? I went through a lawyer and actually went to the National Archives. They don't have them. Either do the committees. There were 2 hard drives sent. One to Congress, one to a federal investigation committee. They're gone. They're gone. So that's why I'm wearing this hat. You're like, what keeps going back to this hat? It's a simple fact that if I told everybody everything that I know, my biggest worry is that you'd have no confidence in our system of government. And even with all the crap going on out there, it's very difficult to think that we can come back from this precipice of authoritarianism and fascism, which is obvious. Media is afraid to say it. They're afraid to say it because they'll lose access, or they think that they're being hyperbolic. But when you're taking 10% of intel, or you're forcing NVIDIA and them to pay 15% charges to the government to do business with China, when you're talking about taking the 10% of intel and then going after Mamdani in New York, who I think would be the worst mayor for New York, honestly. If he read his belief systems and what he does, nobody would want that in the United States. But it's no different than what Trump did. And I'm starting to think, well, do I need to jump in no matter what and run? But, I don't even know if I trust our own pillars of government in any level. I certainly don't trust the media to tell the truth or be facts based. I do expect them to be like Jake Tapper and write a book by Biden while we have a guy who's actually dismantling democratic institutions like Trump. I mean, come on, what's going to happen is they're trying to monetize far right money spenders. Stupid money spends. That's the way it is. So when I talk about what happened to me with disinformation, Bigfoot erotica seemed so bad at the time that I would never get over it, but I ended up winning by 7 points. But you know what's really bad is when there's an attempt on your life. That's when it's bad. That wasn't the left. That was the right. When it's really bad, I'm still getting death threats. What's even worse is when they threaten to rape your family. Do you think that I'm not angry every day I see who the president is with 3 daughters, 3 granddaughters, a beautiful wife? Do you think it's difficult for me to smile through some of this, to try to be flippant or have a sense of humor? I'm freaking furious. I'm angry that I served this country for the years of my life, put myself in harm's way. And now I got to go and do this. I got to be here talking to you. But I do, because you guys are like-minded souls. But you're also smarter than, I would say, the majority of Americans out there right now, because you still have 77 million that voted for Trump. My guess is if he ran again in 2028, he'd still get 77 million votes, because they don't care what he says. It's tribalistic, it's sportification, but it's also ignorance. It's belief in cults. It's a cult belief system. It's all of that. Now, I haven't had one soundbite that AI is going to break apart to do it, right? I don't have Doug for me tonight to pick this apart. And you guys are like, well, where's Denver going? I think you probably know where I'm going, right? Is that your life has to be facts-based, and you have to learn how to source. You have to look through the shit, right? Because a Washington Post headline probably isn't great until you read down and actually find the truth. The headlines are for clicks. They're not for facts. That's just the way it is. When you're looking at politicians, they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you what's in their polling and their crosstabs. They're going to tell you what their biggest donors want you to tell them. And with 2 parties, that's why you have so much control from the donor class. And that's why you have so much control of money in politics, because there's not an equalizing or balancing party that feels like they can say facts or truth. The issue is, with so much rent seeking, with so much lobbying on the Hill, it's very difficult to break through as a third party, because money is going to force you out. If you guys don't know, in Congress, the majority rules. If they're on the floor, there really is no freedom. If you're a backbencher, you can't do what you want, because if you try to do what you want, they freeze you out, don't give you money, don't give the committees, and don't let you help your district. It's extortion. So a lot of times when you see people doing stupid shit, you're like, why is my representative doing that? They could be true believers, nutcases who believe that aliens are in the Bible or there's interdimensional beings, right? Could be Anna Paulina Luna, right? Could be some of those people. Could be the whole Freedom Caucus, right? Who actually believe the crypto bill was the mark of Satan. True story. Tell you that one day. But what it comes down to is this: nobody's being straight with you. And I'm almost afraid to be completely straight with you, because the things I just told you should shock you. I would think that you guys are like, what? The J6 records, the Meadows texts, Hunter Biden forensics, all this stuff, everything. I had an incredible show planned tonight. If you guys saw, I was looking at everything that was going on right down the line, with all the things that happened with Trump and all the things that haven't happened. All the things. I mean, how's Iran's nuclear program doing right now? It's solvent, right? Why do we have cruisers and battleships down in Venezuela? Wag the dog, Epstein distraction. Everything that he's doing looks like the Tyrant's Playbook. Have you guys seen that, right? I think Peter Dinklage did a show on the Tyrant's Playbook, and I started laughing because it looks like America today, right? When he's talking about Idi Amin, he's talking about Gaddafi, talking about Stalin, going on down the line. So here we are, 25 minutes into this, 24 and a half minutes, and I've never done a show like this. But the reason I haven't is because I'm tired, of trying to pick one topic and just say, boom, boom, boom. And I know I'm supposed to, and I know I'll be back there next week. You guys be laughing, be having a good time. There'll be confetti in the air. I'll be drinking my liquor, right? I'll be drinking my Irish whiskey. I will be wearing my Denver Bigfoot hat, right? We'll be talking about all this kind of stuff. But tonight, what I want to tell you guys personally is that I really do appreciate you guys listening in. I appreciate you knowing that I've done some shit, some real stuff. My life hasn't been politics at all, only recently. And now I have another AI company that's very robust. If I told you what was going on with CMS and their headhunting contracts, where they're just going to be paying, right? They're going to be paying contractors in CMS only on denials, which means that the whole government healthcare system is going to be based on how many people they deny. That's Doge. I know that now because I got a call from lobbyists and we're building actual capabilities to fight against government AI denial systems. That's what my company is doing. Now you know. We're using huge AI and big time engineers to go after healthcare systems, right? So I love the law in Australia, by the way. What Irish am I drinking right now, by the way? Okay, we have a commercial for Gold Spot. It is a great Irish whiskey. It is very close to everything that they do, like Green Spot, Blue Spot, Yellow Spot, and Red Spot. I do love Gold Spot whiskey. It's a single pot still Irish whiskey. This one aged 9 years. So thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Kalahela. That is the Irish that I'm drinking. I learned so much from those Bigfoot expeditions accidentally. One night I'll have my wife here on, and she'll tell you how she probably at her 15-year anniversary, when I told her I was going to Hawaii with her, or I was taking her to Hawaii, and I actually took her on a Bigfoot expedition. That didn't go over very well. And if there's any women here who have been married a long time to their husband and they lied to you and took you on a Bigfoot expedition as a joke, how would you act? Now we've been married 35 years. I couldn't believe what these people believed. I couldn't believe what I had believed. Being raised Mormon, all the things that I gave up, thinking that there was a supernatural being that was leading me to some nirvana. And I think part of why I do what I do now is because it took me longer than some to realize how much badness there really is. And when you feel naive, when you get into politics at 47 to 48 and you feel naive and you feel hornswoggled and you feel like you've been fed a line of poppycock and you ate it and drank it and believed it, when you still had this little nugget that maybe, just maybe, there was somebody up there that wanted you to do something great for people. And literally, I just got my face caved in, whether it was from the left initially and then much worse by the right when I was the tool of the Antichrist. I never thought in a million years, right? That would be both, right? That would be funded by far right Christian national groups and George Soros. I was accused of that on the same day once. How does that happen? Unless I'm the best double, triple agent, insider Manchurian candidate in the world. And I'm not. And if I was a tool of the Antichrist, I'd have a lot of power. I would be president right now, as you guys know. So as this is happening, so we have a lot of people watching, and my God, I know it's been going up higher. But this is Denver After Dark. This is where we get serious about what's happening. I'm telling everybody right now, we're almost over the cliff when it comes to authoritarian policies. We've almost lost our institutions completely. We have a Supreme Court that's complicit and all these people that are complicit, but we have a media that's complicit. And just like my Bigfoot erotica story and just by right be called tool the Antichrist, all the stuff that has happened to me, that is what's happening now, is that we have a complete disinformation and misinformation and click-based media and political system that doesn't give a shit about you. And anybody, even Gavin and everybody else who run, they're politicians. They're politicians. And when you go back and look in the past, they're going to make mistakes. But you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision, and it's true. And I hate to say it because it sounds cliche. You got to make a decision over what's bad or what's more bad, which I think the word would be worse. Bad or more bad. And then you got to hold your nose, and you still got to vote the way to stop our institutions being destroyed. Even if who you're voting for, you only agree with 30%, at least 100% of their belief system is to keep democratic institutions. That's it. We have a white nationalist government. And everybody can say, oh, look at some of the people. No, we don't. We have Darren Beatty's in there. Guys, I'm telling you right now, it's worse than you think, because even the people, the undersecretaries, third and fourth command, all of them are MAGA. All of them believe in this weird Curtis Yarvin bullshit. All of them think that we should be a Christo-fascist state. All of them are down the line on Christian nationalism. and all of them are like Tucker Carlson, and they think that you should actually tan your nuts, right? I mean, that's how crazy they are. You even have people now saying that, there are Republican congressional representatives saying that Biden and Obama changed the Epstein files to make Trump look bad. This is a new conspiracy theory that will stick. I'm telling you guys, that's what they're going to run on. And you have to be confrontational, and you have to go after people on this, because nobody right now can really be trusted to tell you 100% of the truth and facts that are happening. And I'm going to. I have to. Even if it hurts me, I have to, because I'm the only one on earth who has gotten through being called Bigfoot eroticist and the tool of the Antichrist. Boom, I win. Nobody else has had to go through that. I'm telling you that right now. And for people to believe it. People to believe it, to make fun of lies, make fun of me, and try to drag my family. Let me tell you this really quick. You know how it affects families? My oldest daughter went to UVA. This was 2018, 2019, 2018. She had graduated, I think, in 2015. She was back for some kind of thing with people she knew at UVA. So what the left did, the Democrats, is they put in, which I actually laughed because it was pretty funny, and I posted it when I had another Twitter account. They put a picture of me as Bigfoot, like this weird troll, Bigfoot, and says like, "I love Trump," with a big Bigfoot face, which, to be honest, it was a pretty good artist. I laughed a little bit right when I saw it, but who didn't laugh? My daughters. And if I found the person who made that, I'd feed it to them. I kept one, and you guys know I would. I would make them eat it. And if I found the person who messed with my tires and took all my lug nuts off and put the caps back on while my pregnant daughter was driving my vehicle, my congressional vehicle, it'd be worse. That's right. So why am I like this tonight? And I'm even over 30 minutes. Cletus is going to be very happy. I got a feeling that many of you are saying, my God, we have never had a former congressman, CEO, former J6 advisor, author, Pentagon military decorated individual, and famous exotic dancer. No, I'm kidding. Talk to us like this. The reason is that you need to look around, and you need to know that even the people that you think are your allies at higher levels, if they're feeding you something that sounds a little bit weird, it probably is. Source it. And I know it's hard to find the truth anymore. Go to the people that you believe, and go to the people that will tell you the truth and tell you the facts. If you don't do that, you're going to be led down a road that you can never come back from. You have a million people swirling in bizarre, kaleidoscopic rabbit holes. They can't get out of it because they can't find the exit. And a lot of times it's because of their peer groups and their belief systems that won't allow them to see the truth and the facts of what's happening. If anybody ever tells you that they've been called from God or they have a supernatural disposition to run for office, run away. Always support the person opposite that. And if somebody tells you the state can own you and control you, run away. Go the opposite way of that too. Anyhow, this has been a hell of a time. I don't know. I'm looking at the comments right now. Sources are getting tricky. We have a lot. Man, it's just amazing that people are watching. I don't know if I taught you something tonight. I know I put some things out there that shocked you, especially with the J6 committees, especially with the Hunter Biden stuff. And even now, watching what Hunter's doing, I'm completely against it, right? And I'm like, man, don't feed the beast, right? Be facts-based, be awesome, but don't come out with conspiracy theories. Tell him to his face. Can't do that, even though you're pissed, and you should be. I'm looking at Hunter Biden's Beautiful Things book right now, and you should read it. So what I do is, I think I've told you there's 3 books I have back to back to back to remind me of who I am. Are you guys ready? Here's what's on my shelf, and I did all this. Hitch 22 by Christopher Hitchens. Hunter Biden, Beautiful Things. Then, just to remind me who my enemies are, I have The Deep Rig by Patrick Byrne, his actual bizarre J6 conspiracy theory book on the stolen election. To the left of that, I have Bob Woodward's The Trump Tapes. I Remember Who You Are, my good friend Steve Ketman, when Pedro Gomez died, about baseball. I have my book on terrorism by Lawrence Hogan. The 1% Doctrine by Ron Suskind. So just to let you guys know some of the stuff that I read, but I also have something old. You guys ready for this? Nightmare, The Underside of the Nixon Years by J. Anthony Lucas. I think that was written in I'm trying to remember, was it 75, 76? So I'm a voracious reader also. And I think that's part of what helps me, right, to sort of to bring out these stories. So here's what I'm going to ask all of you. Look at who's running in your districts. Support the people who aren't insane. Next week, I had an incredible thing. I just had to tell you guys why I was wearing my hat today, and I know I got off on a bit of a tangent, but I need you to know who I am. I need you to know I'm not going to lie to you. I don't have time for it, and I don't give a shit anymore, right? I want to win again. I want to help you guys. I want to serve, but I'm not going to serve as a sociopathic narcissist or somebody who just goes down the line, with whatever polling says, what messaging goes for each specific district, making sure, and I know you're supposed to support the constituents. I just can't pander anymore. I just can't do it. I did it for about 14 months and it about killed me. Not going to lie. Blood pressure. I was messed up, having trouble sleeping, trying to do those type of things. You guys, you have to look at what's happening with what's going on in your local elections. You have to be involved. You have to. You have to get in now. There is no choice. You got to get in the ring, right? You have to. Guys, I don't want to leave you, right? It's been 36 minutes. I don't like to go over 30 minutes, but Cletus, I'm practicing going over 30 minutes. There's so much more that I can talk about. I'm going to look at it right now. I don't think people want to be pandered to anyway. So I'm looking at the comments. Does anybody have a question? Yes, Miller. Yes, Yarvin is insane, and everybody's sort of on his bandwagon. It's sort of like Yarvin and Peter Thiel, do some kind of weird meetings at their houses or something. It's like Naked Twister Night or something. I don't know what the hell's going on. But does anybody have any questions that you just want to ask me so badly that you can't stand it? I'm sitting here, right? Look, because I can't see all the threads, right? Catherine, hey, Catherine, do you think Zelensky should just tell Trump to fuck off? Oh, I said that. It's going to hurt my YouTube algorithm. So, Catherine, yes, it is that time. The EU needs to step up, right? They need to minimize what Trump is doing. They need to also understand that he's never going to follow through on Putin. He doesn't have the guts to do it, but there's something else behind the door there. You guys know I try not to speculate because speculation gets very close, right, to getting. I always think speculation and conspiratorial things could happen. You come up with opinions based on facts and data. But here's the thing. Whether you get shot on accident or shot on purpose, you're still getting shot. And what Trump is doing with Putin either reeks of cowardice, he's leveraged some way, or he actually agrees with Putin. There is no other, ignorance is also there too. There's no other explanations for this. We should be funding Ukraine. Not only that, we probably should have a no-fly zone in place by this time. So yes, I do think that there should be a Foxtrot Oscar from Zelensky to Trump. Is a Euro security group parallel to NATO possible? Yeah. So Tim, the issue is funding, but they can do that. I don't know if you guys just saw go look at Poland's army, massive. I've been through Poland twice now. I don't know if you guys know this. They have Patriot batteries all over Poland, right? These guys are ready for a scrap. They've been deeply helpful to Ukraine, but even they are getting taxed with the number of Ukrainian refugees that are coming across. But the EU needs to step up and put on their big boy pants now, because even though we're still a hegemonic threat, right, with everything that we have, we've lost any type of moral compass for us to lead anything. So yeah, we're still the big bully in the yard that's been held back twice in 5th grade and taking everybody's milk money, but we certainly don't have any moral clarity or moral compass that people want to hold on to anymore. I don't know if we can actually fix our reputation in the world now. I think it would be decades with a real honest effort to try to make sure we're a good partner to those countries. Sure, I can tell you a little bit about my plans in Ukraine. My God, it's coming in fast, guys. So Ukraine is humanitarian, specifically with medical supplies, comms, and things like that. For sort of more of the rear line stuff. As you guys know, I do some of my own craziness, like going to look at what's going on with drone warfare and things of that nature, but that's on my own with my own teams. But what I'm doing this time is a humanitarian convoy to help people who have been injured badly. I mean, even some of the stuff we're bringing wheelchairs, things like that, trying to help Ukrainians that have been injured. I'm really, I've been really affected since I went to Ukraine. So it's something that I really, really enjoy. But I also, just to let you guys know, I'm writing a book about three girls that did some incredible things there. And it looks like I just got a massive agent for that. Me and a good friend of mine are writing a book, I think, that probably will be made into a movie at some point. And I have a big agent and a big thing happening. So I'll keep you guys informed on that also. Problem with Europe? That's a great question. I think it is a lack of unity, even though you have those in the EU. I think it's where they get their fuel, their gas, how their economic fortunes are linked to natural resources, not only with Russia, but what does that long-term effect look like with China also? If you guys know, Russia's an immediate threat that people are scared of. Again, like the slobbering lollipop licker in the schoolyard. China, they're sitting on the corner. They're the ones that are quiet that you never want to mess with. And if we don't start looking at China and what they're doing, it's pretty amazing that we've completely ignored China, what's going on there based on the ridiculousness of Trump, like moving battleships to Venezuela. I mean, it's just ludicrous stuff, and it should scare people how unhinged he is. Let's see. What else do we? Gosh, I missed a few questions. Daggone it. Can we donate to help? You can. I would love for you guys to look up Zero Line. There's a lot of other groups, and I can actually put that out next time. I'll bring it. But Zero Line is a fantastic group, and they do a lot of this stuff. They're fantastic. So just want to let you know that. Yes, Finland is the number one. Thank you, Catherine. Finland is an amazing supporter of Ukraine, and I want all of you guys to know that it is absolutely incredible what they're doing. So, just to let you know, when you get older, weird things happen. I've been sipping a little drinks. Did you guys see my eyes get? So now, as I get older, I don't hardly drink anymore because I just feel like shit. It's weird because I love the taste of a good Irish, and bourbon, but it's so weird, as you get older how your body changes, and all that kind of stuff. But again, Finland, awesome country. Also, I mean, I might be being in Helsinki. I can't tell you guys completely, but in the next month or two, I might be in Helsinki also. So that should be pretty cool. Yeah, Zero Line is correct. Yes, Mobius 981, that is correct. Well, it happens after 40. I'm 55. It's just, it's just nuts. It's just nuts as I get older. Yeah, I really actually don't have any serious health issues, which is great, which makes me pretty happy. I'm actually in pretty good stuff. Today, just to let you guys know, I did kettlebell swings. I know. I did kettlebell squats and then 25 minutes on this Peloton over here. So about 50 minutes. I know this sounds crazy, but I was a two-time state powerlifting champion back in the day. And that's why, a lot of people are like, Denver, you're fat. No, I'm just chubby like bacon. I'm layered with muscle and fat. But when it gets really hot, I sweat a lot, like when you're on a pan. So anyway, amazing. Thank you guys. I know this will all be used against me. Yeah, Jan, again, it's weird. Literally, I poured a half ounce and just sipping, but I can feel my face, it's weird. I already, I mean, I'm pretty dashing, but I don't want to get swolled up too much. You know what I mean? Um, Tim, I know you died. Great picture, right? With your loved one too. I saw that. Fantastic picture, Tim. Midterms, do they happen? Yes. But I think you're going to have, from Cletus, I think we are going to have midterms, but I think they're going to be some of the most disruptive midterms in our history. My worry is there could be some bizarre sort of violence-based interventions in certain areas in blue states. I just hope that ICE isn't weaponized, like say, some of the state police apparatuses of authoritarian regimes in the past, or that there's not local militia groups who believe they're doing some kind of service, or there's this, as the conspiracy theories of 2020 are being rebooted right now. Like I think you guys have seen it, especially from Tulsi Gabbard and from the FBI, Kash Patel. So that's happening now because they're loons and loyalists. But yeah, I think they happen. I just think it's going to be really rough. And I think he's looking to try to create as much violence as he can to make sure maybe the Insurrection Act is executed in certain areas, or maybe he picks certain cities that could turn the elections or certain areas. And that's what scares me. And I think everybody needs to be aware of that. Um, as I am in the AI business, AI can certainly be used for manipulation, especially with digital ads, people doing things. But I will do a show on AI here soon, and we'll have that. Will midterms be honest? Dusty's videos. Um, I don't know. Listen. You don't steal elections um, with Dominion voting or Starlink, or people say at the tabulator level. Stop. Where you do steal elections is with process and disenfranchisement. So I think what you're going to see are them saying there's honest elections, but a lot of people not voting out of fear, or some snafu with their voter registrations. That's the best way. The GOP has to win by subtraction. So they have to figure out how to disenfranchise enough people to get them over the hump. Part of that being gerrymandering, or gerrymandering, as Reagan said, because the real guy's name was Gary. So for gerrymandering. So I think we're going to have some honest areas, but I think we really have to look at swing districts. There's only probably 30 to 50 that are going to determine this whole election. And I hope that we're looking at them, but we've disbanded CISA, CISA, as you guys know, with their monitoring, and much of the election monitoring apparatus of the federal government is gone. So, and the states, or it's going to be up to the states to see if they can continue their constitutional duties, or they're so wrapped up in MAGA and red that they try to limit who can vote in certain districts. So, exactly, removing people from voter rolls, all the stuff that you see that's sort of on the side that you're really not noticing in certain districts. I would, Peggy, is it safer to vote absentee or in person? Listen, I always like to vote in person. I have voted absentee, obviously, and I had to go certain places, but I think voting in person, I think you still should. I think there's something very encouraging about voting in person. I think you should do it. There you go. I don't know what that was. It just popped up, some asylum stuff. We want all the smoke and drama at Steve Billings Asylum. We dare you. Man, I was in Romania in 1999. There's nothing that scares me. I mean, come on. When you have a gun stuck in your chest at 3 a.m. from 40 Romanian gendarme, come back and see me. Okay, we dare you. My God, guys. It's so funny. Hyperbole and propaganda. Anyway, yep, Paul Wyrich, know all about it, Stony. Yes, sir. So, guys, thank you. You're amazing. Thank you for spending this evening with me. An old man that's pissed, screaming at the sky. Actually, I don't. But I really enjoy you guys. I don't want to end this stream. You're wonderful people. I hope all of you actually keep in check with each other, follow each other, be supportive to each other. I know this sounds care for each other. It's okay to have a moral compass. And I appreciate you guys. Follow me on Denver After Dark. Now I got to figure out how to end this stream and make sure I post to everything without the help of Doug, because I'm like a monkey humping a football sometimes when it comes to this. So thank you all. And did I see Vigilantes Inc.? I did not. I will go look that up. So you guys, thank you. Till next time. And I'll do a midterm Denver After Dark this week because I'm not traveling. I was traveling all last week for work. And hey, care about the people that are good and confront the people that aren't. Take care, y'all.